Therapy.Emotional.Support.Dog. Therapy.Emotional.Support.Dog. So we got some big questions today, cause I'm I classify myself I call myself being worthy to talk about these subjects only because I do them. And the results of such. People say, oh, you're just a one trick pony. And I don't know if it's a bad thing to be good at just one thing, which I'm not going to say. It's nothing wrong with being the best in the world at math or biology or whatever sequence of education that you have, because you'll think it'll be good to be even at everything when really it's not good. It's better for you to be great at one particular thing more than all the others. And a lot of people don't know that. So therapy and emotional support dog, I'm finna get into the dogs. Not only that, I'm finna let my dogs out to use the bathroom. So y'all might hear a lot of barking, but we can still stay on subject. We can still stay in the activity of talking about these dogs, line breeding, inbreeding, and back crossing. So, what is line breeding? Line breeding is a method that a lot of breeders use. There's a couple of ways of line breeding. So, when we're talking about line breeding, we're mostly talking about purebred dogs or dogs that we're trying to create to make purebred. We're not talking about dogs that are not already in this fashion. We're talking about dogs that we're trying to make purebred. Are we talking about purebred dogs? Come on, Chris. Chris. Okay. So, with these things being so, I'm taking my time. We're talking about, hey, what y'all got going on? Momo cow, how everything going? Kobe, how everything going, man? So we just having a thing about what is line breeding. I'm letting my dogs out right now too, so trying to be able to talk to y'all. So right now we're asking, what is line breeding? That's the subject we on. Now, if you wanna chime in, Momo cow, you can. Kobe, man, my day going all right. Just trying to work hard as I can work. And which I ask all y'all to do too. Work as hard as possible. Every day you want to try to push yourself a little bit harder, a little bit harder. Kobe. Oh, with a name like Kobe, I already know what you're doing. If with a name like Kobe, you stay in the gym. Momo cow. A moo cow. However you want to say it. Get ready to start letting them out. Use the bathroom, scoop up some poop. Yeah, I'm doing good though. I'm out here, you know. So yeah, we talking about line breeding. So line breeding is mostly when you're dealing with a purebred dog already, such as Rottweilers, right? So what you do is you start consolidating your line by selection, and you start breeding from a dog. So if your Rottweiler name is Hooch, you start breeding from Hooch. Let's say you breed Hooch to 3 females, and then you might take Hooch daughters and go to him, or you can go half brother, half sister, start creating your line. Not only that, you want to always out in them outcrops. Them outs. So basically, they just outcrosses. And so you take your dog Hooch to 3 females. Them are your outcrosses. You outcrossed it with 3 females. And then you start creating your line with going Hooch to his siblings, Hooch to his daughters, granddaughters, Hooch to half brother, half sister, half Hooch son, half sister, Hooch daughter to Hooch grandson. And you start creating your line. This is what we call line breeding. Now, inbreeding at its finest is only when you put a brother and sister together. So, and I like to clarify. So, in this line breeding, there's different methods of line breeding. So, with these different methods of line breeding, which I was saying, y'all, you know, brother to sister, granddaughter to granddaddy, uncle, niece. These are your line breeders in a full-blooded, you know, dog. Or when you're trying to create your own dog. Now, a lot of people don't know to create a breed, you must have a standard. It must be able to be identified. You can't say, oh, I made a breed, but all your dogs look different. So that's what we're dealing with. We create breeds, we write our standards. You do your F1s, you do your F2s, your F3s, your F4s, and then you do your first generation, your second generation, third generation, fourth generation. In all, you got 8 generations. You basically, if they came out the way that you wanted, you made your own breed. But if they don't come out the way you wanted, then you cannot say that you did something. What you did was make a bunch of dogs that don't show the same characteristics. A lot of people do not believe in inbreeding, line breeding, which the reason I do because I see it in nature. A lot of people say it creates diseases, but actually it don't. It reveals. It reveals the disease. So why do it reveals the disease? Your dog is already plagued with this defect. And when you it's already plagued with this defect. They are mixed it with a lot of dogs, so it carries. Yes, that puppy is actually one of the puppies. Therapy.Emotional.Support.Dog. We do that. We do let puppies go for a working man price. You have to leave a comment after my live, and I will be getting at you. And I'll let you know what we got going on at this working man price. And when I say working man price, so I actually mean working man price like factory worker. You know what I mean? People who getting paid 800 a week, 600 a week. So I mean working man prices. People who living on these type of incomes. I want to still be able to get them a great dog without them having to pay auntie hundreds. But one day my dogs might not be at this price. So I tell people, get aboard. I do have pedigree, but what I do, I mix the bulldog with the bully. I've been doing this since 2019. I have examples of the breeds, examples. You can go on my page and look at the puppies. You can look at my grown dog, great structures. Uh, Head not too big. No high. Well, I had one dog with high rear, but I came up with a breeding program to eliminate that by breeding two perfectly structured dogs together and emphasizing on that. So that's selection breeding, which we can always get into that. But that puppy that you see, uh, if I'm not mistaken, the one if you're looking at now, that one is wrong. She is like part of my foundation litter. So this, she's part of the dogs that I'm creating to make my overall dog. So she will live and die here for eternity because that's the only reason she's here for. Right now I'm just checking to see with my stud male that I'm gonna be using. He's my oldest male, which I always bred slow. But now we at a point where we can start speeding up productions. And like I tell people, get at me. Especially if you take good care of a dog, it's guaranteed that you're gonna get a great dog. It may even be a dog worth going to the show with proper training, and it'll be definitely a great dog to go to the show. Perfect structure, overall even just well balanced dog. The head's not overly big. The chest is more focused on the body because when you think, so I missed the bully with the bulldog. When you think bully, and even though I'm getting off subject for a while, just to promote these dogs, when you think bully, you think a person with like a thick body, mostly short. Most bullies have smaller heads with the bigger body. That's what you think of when you think of bully. But now they got bully, and you think of a dog with a bigger head, bigger body, big bones. Now that is not what I would practically call a bully. I would call it more of a just a thick or overall thick dog. Yeah, I had to get back to y'all. Overall, did Momo. Well, I have dog named Toki Mama, M's, Nola. Nola was one of the. I started off with Snowy Chloe. I had got her. The what we call the classic bully now. But um, we just had a litter of puppies that we did a big selling on. I kept like two of them, which is still people inquiring me on a couple of them. There's still people asking me about a couple of them. I have to put this stuff on y'all. Like I said, Nola, I'm just waiting to see if she's gonna come back in heat. She an older male. She gave me two litters. I bought her from this dude. I really liked her. She was the standard bully, and I started taking her to my bulldog. But I started off with the classic, and then I did the standard. So my whole purpose is to create my own breed. With creating your own breed, so that's why the title of this is line breeding, inbreeding, and back crossing. So a lot of people don't agree with line breeding because they say it brings out diseases. As I recap on it, it does not create diseases, but yes, it do bring the diseases of the dog to the front line. Because your dog is already plagued with these diseases. It ain't like what you think it is. The dog already plagued with Your dog already plagued with diseases. And what you need to do is try to what you need to try to do is try to get these diseases out your dog. And it's a slow process. Due to genetic testing, when you go to inbreeding, line breeding, so you trying to the purpose to me of line breeding is to purify your blood and create a healthy dog. So if you line breeding and inbreeding and getting unhealthy dogs, you need to be doing genetic testing to get the dogs that don't carry those bad traits. Once you find a dog that don't carry those bad traits, then that's when you start seeing what you're really looking for. Oh, come on. Okay. So yeah, that's what you're breeding for. You line breeding to purify the dog. You line breeding to get the genetic diseases out of the dog. You're not line breeding to, and people do lock in traits, but the whole point of line breeding is to purify the breed, is to make a better breed, is to create. And if you're not a good breeder, then you're not gonna be able to. You're not gonna have this. You're not gonna have the capability of line breeding and breeding because your selection is all off. You choosing a dog with the shortest nose and he's brachycephalic. So you want to breed from that. You don't want to breed towards that. You don't want to breed towards that brachycephalic where your dog can't breathe. You don't want to breed. Okay, your dog got a massive chest but a high rear. And I'm not saying the high rear is unhealthy. I'm just, especially or bad eyes, anything that loss of skin. You don't want to take the ones and inbreed off of that. You want to do your genetic testing. Once you do your genetic testing on your inbreed, you want to select the dogs that had the clearest paperwork and keep moving with that process. Back in the day, they didn't have that. The lions do not have that. It's a lot of animals that don't have the capability of where they could go and um, do these things, inbreed these dogs, line breed these dogs. Um, in the wild, we see lions breed to all the females, and those kids are like so. the genetic pool it doesn't it stops, but it's more. I look at that more like a matriarch breeding. Like, okay, the top one. And you can get one that looks even better because every year we breed better and better. Every year we breed a better and better dog. Right now, the Brazilians came out with an awesome breed, and they really capitalized on the production, which I talk about them all the time. The dogs are gorgeous. The dogs are huge. I haven't seen any health issues in the dogs. I haven't seen any temperament problems in the dogs. So that's the main thing I look at: health issues and temperament problems. I haven't seen any. But back to line breed. So you line breed on a dog. You trying to create this specimen. I think I don't let my dog get too big to breed. This female that I'm taking him to. This will be his second female, actually. So let's say this is how I did my dogs. So I took my dogs, I did my 50-50 cross. Then I also bought another male dog that was they half brother. And then I bought a doppelganger. A doppelganger is basically, especially what I call it in my dogs, a dog that look like the dogs, but that's not related to it. I bought her and her daughter. So I'm starting my program. So I took one of my 50-50 crosses to the doppelganger. And then I took the puppy off of that back to the 50-50 cross. Not the same father, but the uncle, which I capitalized and got a specific genetic part that I needed in my dogs. And this is line breeding. Moo, you can rejuvenate, go fast. When you sleep. Her shit. When you sleep, you fasting. So you gotta go. It ain't nothing wrong with fasting. And shutting down the digestive system so you can repair and rejuvenate. You know? But yeah, so I took my male dog. I went and selected my female dog. And the reason I selected her for was heterochromia. She had a heterochromia that was unheard of. So I took her to a dog that had like just the purest of blue eyes. And at this time, it came off. If you look at it, you'll see the female dog that my male dog that I decided to use come off of. So I emphasize on what I wanted in her, then I'm going to the next level, next level, next level, next level. Right now, I'm just trying to breed dogs that are complement. And like I said, the Brazilian went so far that I ain't got no choice but to go and come on in, like real fast. And I appreciate you subscribing, Momo. I hope I get more time with you. Or Moo. I'm sorry. I don't know why I keep calling you Momo. Moo 22 or 222. But so what are we trying to accomplish here? So through line breeding and inbreeding, we're curing the dogs. By line breeding and inbreeding, we're by line breeding and inbreeding, we're curing the dogs. We're plaguing. We're forcing the bad genetics to the surface and getting rid of the dogs with the bad genetics. That way, when people get dogs, they don't have to go through that. And that's what you want. You want it where when you get the dog, you don't have to go through that. You don't want to stack the bad genetics up on the dog. You want to have it where you stack the good genetics on the dog. You stack the good genetics on the dog. You picking the right dogs, because a lot of people have horrible dogs. 5 years, you picking from dogs, and they're like, "Oh, line breeding, inbreeding is the what's messing the dog up." No, your dog was already messed up, and that's why I try to teach people more about line breeding and inbreeding. All you doing is causing the genetic to come to the surface, the good ones and the bad ones. So in the animal kingdom, you see them, they line breed, they inbreed, they line breed, they inbreed. This is what happens in the animal kingdom. Good boy. Good animals. Good boy. Good boy. Just hyping him up for it. He's already 5, 6 years old. So what I'm doing, I'm taking him to his niece. So it's like it's not even like a full niece. It's his half brother daughter. So what would we call this? Both of these, and if you look at it, so they different ones. So we're gonna say it's a 2-2. So half brother, half sister. I clarify that a 2-2, and that's how far they removed from their father. Why would you say 2-2? Because it's a female dog. A 1-1 would be like, okay, they're one removed from their father. That's what people, but that's off the same litter. A 1-1 would be off the same litter. But a 2-2 would be half brother, half sister. There's another dog there that creates that that dog, and they're not the same dogs. So this is more like a 2-3 breeding. Why do we do a 2-3 breeding? Because right now we're focusing on the line breeding aspect. We're not focusing on the inbreeding aspect. And we getting closer. We will not do the inbreeding aspect until, well, I'm actually going to do the inbreeding aspect to see if I can pull a certain dog back that I see between the two dogs that I chose to use. It's a particular dog I want to use. So I'm trying to pull a male or female from a real tight inbreeding. And if you pay attention to what I was saying, the inbreeding to me is only full-blooded brother and sister. You need to genetically test these dogs before you even do this, because all this bad stuff is finna come up, and you need to know what you're facing. And that's the thing about that. And I appreciate you subscribing, Moo Moo Cow. I needed that. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait to catch you in these episodes. I can't wait till maybe you get a puppy from me, and we could talk about the smartness of the dog and how quick the dog developing, and how much you like it, how much is the right dog for you, how it, and I'm gonna teach you how to handle these dogs. Because what people don't know about the American Bully blood is it has a how should I say this? Not so much as it has something in it that makes it sometimes dominant. Is what I'm saying. It has it has that dog in it. I notice it with a lot of people bullies. I notice it with pockets. I notice it with um some exotics. I don't know if they got that dog in it. It's like they have a so much of a personality. It gives off that type of dog. Their personality do. So I'm not just gonna up and say, oh yes, it got that dog in it. I'm gonna say that the personality, it gives it all. Dang, I'm supposed to be taking you to do yours, which I'll do it tomorrow. Uh, I need to do it. Yeah, I need to do it. I'm supposed to be doing it already. What time is it? 12. I'm supposed to be pulling up on him and doing the breeding with Lil Chris. You gotta see him, blue eyes. He just created a whole litter, bro. Everything blue eyes. Like husky blue, white blue, moon blue. Especially with the breeding method I have. I've been studying and studying. I've been studying since in the 90s. So I'm gonna dedicate 25 years to studying dogs, studying genetics and the way things go. Which I'm not saying that I have the degrees in this. I'm saying that I studied the dogs. And the people that I study under, they have degrees in this. This is their profession. Hmm. So you look at everything. My dogs do have natural birth. So we go back into this line breeding, which is different from inbreeding. People want to classify as the same, and I tell people, do not classify these two breedings as the same breeding. And I don't want people to. I don't want you to classify these as the same breeding because I would like to go through the different types of breeding because it's a difference between mother to son, grandma to granddaddy, uncle to niece. It's a difference in those type of breedings because, like I said, and if you don't know how to use them, I wouldn't even do it. I wouldn't even do it. This is the only reason I'm doing it is to build my program so I could create the dog that I'm looking for. In which I got I done one, two, one, two, three. I did three breedings. Out of three breedings, I got personally two specimens that I was proud of. And the people who got my males, they got the dogs that they fell in love with. But for me, my two specimens that I have is overall great dogs. And so I'm trying to harken on creating more of these great specimens. I looked at the science of it. I seen where I was getting the greatest looking puppies from, who was throwing the best looking puppies, the overall puppies, the overall dog who was able to throw these dogs, who was not throwing them, who was throwing this part. And I got to piece it together. And that's basically all I'm doing. I'm just putting, okay, boom, my best male producer. I'm putting him to, right now, I'm putting him to everything. Once I put him to everything, it'll give me that option to be able to throw other dogs. It'll give me that option to put, because people don't even know, okay, if you breeding your dog, if you making your cross, how many times should you go to your cross before you start breeding your dogs to it? This is valuable information. This is so much valuable information. And if you haven't done a research, which I will show you if you stay on the dog journey with. Oh, I know a lot of people be like, tell me. No, I'm gonna do some showing. I'm gonna do some show you. I'm not gonna do that. Oh, just tell me what you're doing. No, I'm gonna do showing. I'm gonna show y'all the genetic testing. I'm gonna show y'all me putting the best dogs together. I'm gonna show y'all the results of the line breeds. I'm gonna show you the results of the end crowd. I'm gonna show you what to do when you run into the dead end and you feel like your blood is so tight that the dogs are gonna come messed up. I'm gonna show you what you gonna do and keep your line still pure and still get the same results from the dogs. I'm going to take out the time to show y'all. And a lot of y'all will be on the same journey as me. Rue, go to bed. A lot of y'all will be on the same journey as me. A lot of y'all. So I'm actually going to show y'all everything I'm talking about. I'm going to actually do these breedings. I'm going to actually talk about the good dogs that I like. I seen plenty of people that bred the bulldog to the bully and messed the breed up. Because when I said I was doing it and I came out publicly in 2019 that this was what I was doing, by 2022, everybody was trying to be public with it. When I talked about it, they was talking about, oh, you just trying to get money. I want my dogs to pay for themselves. I do. But I don't never want to stop working. But I do want to be in a situation where I can focus on my dogs. And me, I'm trying to complete the Merle gene. It's an incomplete gene. It's a mutated gene, whatever you want to call it. Because people call it different things. They call it different things. In which I got to go and talk to the Merle Center and see can I get more information about the top leading Merle people. That's especially in this thing. Because my dogs deal with Merle. All of my dogs have Merle in them. And regardless, I'm going to get into a place where most of my dogs end up just really carrying Merle, not a strong version, but still carrying Merle. And the ideal of that is, it's not good to breed two Merle dogs together. But can you? Yes. They have this thing they call cryptid Merle. And I like to go on these tangents. So I'll be pulling back to the line breeding. What is line breeding? I'll be pulling back to it, but Merle and Merle, you can't put them together. So there's 4 levels of Merle. You got your dilution, you got your cryptid, you got your Merle, and you got your hollow point. You're looking at these 4 levels of Merle. And once you learn how to breed them, which I will show you, Therapy.Emotional.Support.Dog will actually show you how to breed any dogs you have. I would right now, while they had a Merle mixed with Merle mixed with Brundle, I was the one that said the best dog to breed the Merle to was the Brundle, because you would still have your Merlin effect because of how the Brundle lay, and it's a safe breeding. So yes, with that Merlin effect. So line breeding, because I told y'all some go back. You can only line breed dogs that are already pure. But with me, I am doing a line breeding to gain my selection. So I do selection breeding, then I do foundation breeding, then I do generational breeding. So I'm looking at 12 breedings to even create my dog. A slow process, but now I'm actually able to speed up because why? I have done 4 breedings. Out of 4 breeding, no, I done 3 breedings. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. 1, well, 4 if you count in my first cross, but 3 if you count in me working towards my dream. And like I said, it been a journey since 2019 was when I selected my dog. 2000 and 21 is when I dropped my first litter. So after that, we started line breeding. We didn't start off directly line breeding. We did another outcross to a doppelganger to even see what the dogs could produce without the line breeding. So we got all dogs in the base of colors, but we did not get what I was. We got some nice dogs. I'm not gonna tell you that, but we didn't get, bro. We got some nice dogs. I can't say we didn't get nothing we wasn't looking for, because we did. And that was just doppelganger to see if I even had to inbreed to get what I was looking for. I didn't get everything, but I did get some great looking dogs, nice chest, nice head, and we don't even breed for head. But the dogs I used did have great structure and nice head already. So I did the doppelganger breeding. And I don't even know if people call it the doppelganger breeding, but I call it the doppelganger breeding. And I can explain it what it is. A doppelganger is a dog that looks like your dog, but not related. Or someone that looks like you, but y'all not related. So I call it a doppelganger breeding. And that's what I done. Um, like I said, and I want to base it down, in breeding, it's only full-blooded brother and sister. Only full-blooded brother and sister. And I'm not too quick to do it. I haven't done it, but I will be doing it to preserve exactly what I was looking for. And then after that, I'll be letting it go again. I would be letting it go for um maybe like 10 years. And then I come back to it again, this inbreeding thing. And then after that, so because I really want to teach y'all how to breed. I see a lot of people, and so I can tell y'all all the breeding process. There's doppelganger breeding. So basically, I'm breeding nothing dogs. They ain't necessarily, they're not related, but they all have the same structure over and over and over. Let's say I'm doing black dogs. I don't care what the dog is. Long as his ears stand up, he's solid black. He have a medium length fur, and he has a certain body structure. Regardless on what the dog is, I'm breeding that dog. That's phenotype breeding. So you only breeding for the phenotype. When it start doing line breeding and inbreeding, that's when you start doing the genotype. The genotype is the type that is within the dog. The phenotype is what you can see. And mostly only what you can really breed for is the phenotype, because those are the dominant, those are the primary genes that it is expressing. So you can do that. So if you want big heads, you can just continue on breeding dogs with big heads without never having to inbreeding, and stacking a pedigree where every dog back behind it is the same shaped dog without it being the same dog. So all the dogs every male dog you bred with had a 32-inch head or bigger. Every female you bred with had a 26-inch head or bigger. You know what I mean? So you just producing that. And even though the dogs are not even related, you're going to get this phenotype because you have stacked this phenotype on it over and over and over and over. Now, that is one way to breed. You still can get diseases because all it takes is those two genetic markers to produce that that bad functioning or that bad trait. And it don't matter if the dog is German Shepherd and Rottweiler, but both of them got the trait for weak hips. That's just what it is. And you put them together. So do not think line breeding and inbreeding is what mess your animals up. What mess your animals up is them having the genetic in them to show it. Line breeding and inbreeding should fix your dog. It shouldn't destroy your dog. Yes, How everything going, K man? Boy, you know I love you. So not boy, and I apologize for that. I was too excited to see you, and I end up saying something that I don't think should be appropriate because I don't talk to you, but we're not like grew up playing basketball together or whatever. But I was too excited. Mr. K, man, I'm so happy to see you. And I need to address you as my elder and a person that I look up to, especially when it comes to dogs. Don't you know I be digesting your information only because I've been taught the same. I've been taught the information that you have. So I was telling them inbreeding and line breeding, which I deal with any type of breeding. But inbreeding and line breeding expose the genetic flaws for you can fix the problem. It's a way to get the problem to come to the surface, or let's say I'm trying to make it pure. So I'm line breeding and inbreeding to bring the impurities up to the surface so I can get rid of them. And not only that, since we have genetic testing at this point in technology, there's no need to be afraid of line breeding and inbreeding. And thank you for that. And thank you for that. And that's what I be trying to go on rants about. Yes, I do believe in doing a cross, but once you do your cross, you should stop. Some people say you do 3 line breedings and you do 3 breedings like F1, F2, F3, and then be done with it. But I be wanting to tell people they gotta know these are brothers and sisters they talking about. These are dogs. So if I did a German Shepherd mixed with a Rottweiler, that's my F1. I got another German Shepherd mixed with a Rottweiler. I put these two half German Shepherds, half Rottweilers together, and hopefully they have the same phenotype. I put these two German Shepherds and Rottweilers together that are F1s and make my F2s. From them F2s that I have created, right? That is, I have to put them two F2s together to make an F3. I cannot do an F2 back to, I can do an F2 back to an F1, but that don't make no F3. You have to have two F2s to make an F3. And those are the half Rottweiler, half German Shepherd was the F1s. I put them together again. Half German Shepherd, half Rottweiler for the second time. These are my F2, my second foundation. And then I do the half Rottweiler, half German Shepherd from this same line that is half Rottweiler, half German Shepherd, and make my F3s. This is how I tell people how to create your F1s, your F2s, and F3s. Right now, I'm going through my selection period. So I already crossed my dogs, but I'm not using, I am using different dogs, but they are related dogs that I have already brought into my selection formula, my foundation formula. But I don't want to call it my foundation. I want to call it my selection period. So what I say, K man, that I do a S1 selection, S2 selections, S3 selections, F4. When with those, I write my standard out on how I want my dog to be, because I got to have a guideline to stay in and something to keep me founded without going outside of what I actually said I wanted. If I wanted the dog to be have a 4-inch muzzle, I shouldn't use one of the puppies that came out with a 2-inch muzzle, because my structure and what I said that I was gonna make the dog to look like, it doesn't apply in that. So technically this is not the dog that I'm even looking for. I might as well say in my selection, and so I write out what the dog's supposed to be. And this dog do not reach what it's supposed to be, even though it do carry the genotype to produce the dog The phenotype is expressing the overall dog. The phenotype is expressing the strongest variance of it. So the short nose is strong in that. If I use this short nosed dog, that genetic is going to go back into my dogs and reach a stronger note or a louder note. That's the best way I can explain it. So I write out my standard for my dog. After I do my selections and I start selecting where I want to, I'm not going to even start my F1s until I get to these selections. So these F1s, F2s, F3s, I wouldn't go that way because how I'm creating my dog, and I know what an F1 is from my understanding of what an F1 is and what an F2 is. These are line breedings. That's just, these are inbreedings. I'm so sorry. These are full inbreedings. And I wouldn't want to do 3 generations of full-blooded brother and sister that close together. What I would like to do, I would do, after I get through my selection, I would do 1 F1 to verify the dogs. And from that, I would start doing line breedings to closer siblings that have the same characteristics on this phenotype to produce the overall dog. Of course, we breeding for function. Of course, we breeding for companionship. A dog that is good, that wants to be around his owner, but that's okay enough to be by itself. A dog that could have normal birth, a dog that don't have all these genetic problems. But what I'm dealing with is I'm dealing with recessive genes, especially in my colors. So what I came up with is a method that I can use these recessive colors but still make healthy dogs by putting certain genetic markers on the dog that carry on to the next dog. And that's where my selection come in there. By choosing the dogs, even though they come from these recessive colors, and you know how recessive color play a part. Most dogs with blue skin has blue fur has that some of the harshest of skin. Most dogs that have those recessive colors, they have some of the harshest of skins when it comes to dogs. That's what I noticed. Maybe it's food. I'm seeing dogs allergic to chicken. I'm seeing a lot of blue dogs that have their recessive gene of blue in them. That's from black. I'm seeing them that are allergic to chicken. So beyond that, beyond that. So I do believe in nothing but line breeding and breeding. And I already did my outcross. I can't keep doing my outcross thinking I'm finna meet the dog that I wrote down about. That I have already, and most likely when I made this pamphlet to say this X, Y, and Z, the dog should be this, should be that, should be that. When I was doing my breeding, I seen a dog like this that came out of my puppies. And what I started doing is breeding towards that look that I seen that was in my dogs and started letting the rest of them go. Yes, you still gonna get pops up because those genetics that you use, no, they're not going nowhere. If you use Brundle, all it takes is the right 2 dogs to come together, voila. But the whole point of you being an excellent breeder is to be able to select the dogs that doesn't show this and with genetic testing, because it's like $100 now, maybe 150, maybe $200. And if you're a great dog, man, you know a blue dog when you see it, or a diluted dog, a diluted blue dog when you see it. You know a Bruno dog when you see it. You such a great dog, man, that when we talk about dogs getting messed up from line breeding and inbreeding, but then you turn around, you have dogs like the pit bull, the wolf, the African wild dogs. You have these pack fox, coyotes. Hush it, girl. You have all these dogs that have been line bred and inbred for a while to where they all start to look really similar, like all the way similar. And then you have blackbirds, you have jaguars, you have lions, you have zebras, you have all these animals that been line breeding for a while. But the thing about Mother Nature, it do tend to always throw out variants. And in these variants, those are your, how should I say, the dogs that doesn't have the same complete genetic screen. No two dogs gonna have the same. Even if I inbreed, brother and sister, brother and sister, brother and sister, brother and sister. No two dogs are gonna have the same complete genetic screen, because that's just not how it works. It's a shake of a dice. You might, if we talk in dice terms, it's like one dog, even though they both dice, one dog is a 3-1-3-5, the other dog is a 5-3-1-8. So I'm just giving an example of that. So back to line breeding. I only think line breeding happens when you have purified dogs, or when you line breeding to start your selection from. So you select your dogs that you're going to use, because it's all selection. You start putting your breeds together. You select the traits that you want, temperament, color. You selecting all these things because you're doing your selection first before you even get into it. You're not going to be able to meet what you're looking for if you're adding new dogs to it. Okay, I might say, yes, I want the personality of a beagle. I got to start off with that. I can't come back later and put it in my dogs, because once I do that, it is not the same dogs no more. I got the old dogs that I got to put this beagle blood in now to make sure they all share the same complete ancestry. Or, yeah, I got to do it that way. Which, when I got my dogs that I got, when I started my dogs, the first thing I done was start adding a new blood to my blood that I was creating before I even got, because I did my cross bulldog, American bully. Okay, I told my half bulldog, half American bully to the standard bully, which it had a bulldog phenotype, not a complete, but enough where you could say, yeah, that's not no American bully. And you gotta look at it like this. This was like 2022. So the bulldog was just now starting to hit the American bully. Some people were sneaking it in there, but they were still classes. There were still American bullies that came out looking just like pit bull, like just like Staffordshire Terriers at this time. There were still American bullies that came out looking like that. But so we made that cross from the beginning. Now I'm taking all that right back to the bulldog that I started with. Well, he's a half brother. It's not, and it's enough genetics in there that's different to make sure I'm not inbreeding all the way. I'm not doing a full inbreeding. I'm doing a distant line breeding. And like I told people, it is a 2-3 breeding. I'm not doing, so one would be the father, two would be the son, but or one could be, if I'm starting with the litter that the father made, it could still be that. It just depends on how you looking at it. So I call it a 2-3 breeding because it's a half brother to a niece that come off the other half brother. 2-3 breeding. 2-2 breeding, two half siblings. And I try to give people these terms so when they go to breed their dogs and start creating and start making their own line, it's the perfect time for that. So everybody, but I'm big fans of any dog, man. But I mostly just try to stay into these genetics. I've been looking at how they breed fish, how they do plants, how they do snakes, reptilian DNA. I've been interested in that. Chicken DNA, horse DNA, cow DNA. And when I say horse DNA, I really mean the wild horses. So I'm looking at um even though it's not a horse, it's part of the horse family. I'm looking at the zebra. I'm looking at elk. I'm looking at any animal that resembles that animal that haven't been touched by man. I want to cure merles. Where can I find a dog or an animal in nature that maybe exhibits this so I can copy what nature done? Because as breeders, we take the place of Mother Nature. We take the colon aspect. And a lot of people don't believe. They rather give you a bad dog and you have to pay $8,000 for the dog, not because of what it costs for me, but what it costs at the vet. Because he got a serious issue. The dog got skin problems where you got to take medicine for the rest of his life. You got to make sure you have enough medicine that your dog's fur don't fall off. And this is why I line breed and breed. Now, we get into, let's say it's true. I line breed to where my dog started getting very unhealthy. I didn't do the proper genetic testing. I line breed to where my dogs get unhealthy. How do I fix my breed of dog that don't get unhealthy? Do I go and take a whole nother dog? Right? Do I go and take a whole nother breed of dog and add it to this dog that's healthy, shows that what I'm looking for? Or do I go back and re back cross the dog with one of the dog breeds that I started off with? See, and it's questions like that that bug me out, because I know one thing. Once you cross the dog with a breed that wasn't there, it is not the same genetic pool. It's a new creation. No matter how much you try to do it, it's a new creation. But the reason I mess with the oldie is because it's so many different. Well, the bulldog, because it's so many different variants of bulldog that I know that I can always go back and reshuffle the genetic coding with a dog that is already in the dog. I don't have to go outside. I did the bulldog to the bully. I don't have to go outside my breed to keep my dog healthy. There are so many bullies out there. I don't have to go to the pit bull. I don't have to go to the bull mastiff. I don't have to go to the English bulldog. I don't have to go outside. Well, English, I could, because I'm dealing with the bulldogs. But I don't have to go to a dog that is, I don't have to go to a presser. I could just go back to the American Bully. I don't have to go to the Cane Corso. I could just go to a Bulldog. But if I add Cane Corso in the dog, it's genetically not the same dog. Now, would I go back to the Bully? Never. Why would I not go back to the Bully? To me, a lot of bullies have a unstable temperament. When you don't know nothing about mixing these dogs' temperaments together, which which got to do with line breeding and breeding. Because we starting off, we got to make the cross. Before we even, because I like making my own dogs. If not, even when you're dealing with Rottweilers, there's different lines of Rottweilers. So you got to make your line cross. You got to cross your lines and start hammering down on what you try to create. So, like I said, you make one line you making lines from a dog, and you can actually see the line of relation. Like, oh, this dog came from this dog came from this dog, they came back and used this dog again. This dog right here that came from this dog was already 75% this dog, and they took it to a dog that was 36% this dog. And they just kept it going and got the coefficient of the COI up. They got the COI up and made this dog. That's what it's about, y'all. It is about. Now, I'm not gonna tell a novice to line breed and inbreeding, and he don't know what he doing, and he think he destroying his dog. When the line breed and inbreed is to purify your dog, and you getting all of the. When you think of purification, you think of something that's 100, that's untainted, right? But another way of purification is to remove bad stuff, toxins. When you purify your body, you remove the toxins out of it. You get the bad, everything that's bad. You know what I mean? When you purify the water, you get the dirty, the dirt, the things that are not clean or healthy for the water. It's not saying that the water is necessarily 100% this type of H2O, because if you notice, they got different types of H2O. We sell water bottles. It's different types. You got well water. You can purify well water, but it's not the same as purified stream water. Yes, it's still H2O, but it's different levels of alkaline in it. It's different level. It's just different level. And now people are arguing, oh, well, is it pure? It's pure stream water. It's pure well water. It is that. Like it is exactly that. But yes, it's gonna be slight difference in it because of how the water was, the habitat of the water. So it's they're tests for different things at different rates, even after being purified. And this is what I be trying to tell people. And that's I appreciate you for saying that, Kay, man. So when it comes, I don't really talk to people about this. When it comes to creating a look, let's say you got a 50-50 cross and you go back to another 50-50 cross. And let's use German Shepherd or Rottweiler. When you take them two dogs together, you're going to have dogs that lean closer to the Rottweiler, and you're going to have dogs that lean closer to the German Shepherd. And when you do your second, your F2, and you breed them, you're still going to have dogs that look closer to the Rottweiler, and you're still going to have dogs that look closer to the German Shepherd because of how the genetics fall. Even when you do your F3, and you can say the selection, but the thing about it is the recessive genes that's on the genotype. So it's gonna throw back a dog that look closer and closer to this. But it is a way to breed to where you keep your hybrid vigor look. So if you did your Rottweiler mixed with a German Shepherd and you got this particular look, right? You did your 50-50 cross. And you got, and we talking about Rottweilers and German Shepherds. I did American Bullies. I'm not And when you're doing American Bullies and Oldies, you're not doing a 50-50 cross. You're doing a breed that is compacted of a lot of breeds. So you get in ones that look like, let's say the American Bully. Let's just put some dogs in there that they use. Let's say they use the American Pit Bull Terrier. Let's say they use the Staffordshire Terrier and the No, not the Bull Terrier. The Staffordshire Terrier and the Staffy Bull. Yeah, Staffy Bull. Let's say they use them three dogs. And then you take it to another dog that's a compository breed. He is, which was the genetic of an oldie, English Bulldog, American Bulldog, Mastiff, and Pit Bull. So what you're getting now is variation of the breeds that are in the dog more than variation of the dog itself. Because it's not a these are the dogs that are not so much as pure, they're compository breeds. So you get in, and what I mean by that, there are multiple breeds in one. So you get in different variations of that dog. I even want to go to say as much, if you did have a Rottweiler and you bred it with a German Shepherd, that it might break down the genetics so far and scramble them back to the dogs that it took to make them dogs. And you think you get in variations of the mixtures, but really you get in ones that coming out looking like the dogs it took to make the dogs. I'm gonna even go that far to say, but that's just me saying. That is just me saying. But I do understand that I do understand that, and that's why that the stock. So if you do get into a corner, but I have seen where dogs accidentally go and it breeds its brother. It accidentally go and it breeds its full-blooded mother, and no puppies come out flawed. This is before genetic testing though became a big thing, but from the visual and owning a puppy off of this, I didn't see the flaw in it. I seen like emphasis maybe in muscular structure, more of a tighter muscular frame. I have seen that where the dogs have a tighter frame, more of a chiseled frame. I have seen that before. Live the same way, same habitat. It just got a real chiseled frame. And these are things that I have seen, but I have not seen a dog come out with three eyes. I haven't seen, and I'm not saying that I done this and I don't done it 55 generations. I haven't. I have not, but I have my own documents where I have pictures of the puppies that came out, um, and nothing was wrong with them. Nothing was wrong with them. Like my favorite breeding is a right now. My favorite breeding is actually the beginning breeding, that first cross, because you get to see all that extraness. You get to see what the two dogs that 50-50 cross bring together. Even when it comes to the compository breeds, and you take in two of them compository breeds, you're going to get some unique puppies. But can you keep it? And if you can keep it, how do you breed to keep it? How do you breed to keep that, what we'll call hybrid, that hybridization look? How could we breed a lion and a tiger and keep that overall mixed size that happens when you breed a male lion with a female tiger And since it's a female tiger, it don't have the genetics to turn off the growing gene. Or, well, if that's the case, the thing will keep growing until it dies. So eventually it do. It suppresses it allows it to get bigger. Why are we not able to take that animal and breed it again and create another one? Because they could, they would. And I say, because they don't know how to breed. And I'm just gonna be honest. So you got to go back and look at how they make the origin of other breeds. And most of the time they'll just tell you what the dogs are compiled of. But if you can go and find books where they told you exactly every step they took to make this breed, then you about can figure out how to make the type of dog you was looking for. I don't seen plenty of people mix the bulldog with the bully. And you know what it does? It either goes to the bully or it goes to the bulldog. When they get through breeding and they make their final dog, it either looks it looks like an emphasized bully, or it looks like a bulldog emphasized. So I don't see these two, but what they ain't able to create is that first cross that's in the middle, in which I did my studying. I went and watched documentaries on how they created the breed, every step, like breeding 1, breeding 2, breeding 3. What and they talk about it. They talk about it in these documentaries how they couldn't get the dog to look like they want it to look, how it would go one way or to go the other way. And they had to try different breeding practices to learn how to breed the dog to when they go back to their old stock is able to keep it looking that way. Some of the most interesting stuff. Mm. And right now, I'm like everybody else. I'm buying my first house. Um, it's not enough. So especially for my program, to my program is to cure Merles, to complete the Merle gene. Yes, I had that have something that was extravagant. Um, but even if I don't, right? Even if I don't complete or um what they call it a incomplete gene, a mutated gene, if I don't do it, I still learn a lot. Huh. Now that's what I've been thinking about doing. So me bringing my dogs down to a working man price, which you can't beat it. You're getting dogs that look just as good, especially if you're a bulldog, man. You getting bulldogs for prices you can't get these bulldogs for. So I've been doing everything. I've been giving them to family members, close friends. I sell a couple of them just to get my dog out here. A lot of people make more money off the dog than I do, which is fine for now. Everybody got their time. Maybe it's just their season. Maybe they're doing things I'm not doing. But I tell you this, when it comes to breeding and creating this dog, and me trying to create, I don't even tell people how to. Like I already know how to solve the Merle problem. I just got to do it and get in the genetic markers and on the way of doing it. And I'm doing it the safest way to do it. That even if people said something, the way I'm doing it is the safest. It's the safest way you can do it. I'm not taking dogs that are harlequin to top-notch Merle dogs. I'm not taking two harlequins together. I'm going the way that they say you're allowed to do it. And I might even be doing it less than that. So I'm not even worried about it. But once I put these genetic markers on these dogs, it's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be perfect putting these genetic markers on these dogs. And we gotta bring out now, is it worth, let's say this. If I was a bad breeder, I wouldn't even do this. Like I actually I take 2 years before I even select my next. But now I'm getting so left behind that I gotta create. Therapy Emotional Support Dog. I hope y'all enjoyed yourself. Subscribe to my channel. Um, Share this. And I repeat at the end of my show, inbreeding and line breeding do not cause diseases. Disease is already in your dog. Inbreeding and line breeding cause the genetic diseases to surface because the genetics are going to hit each other now. You're putting them together to make them surface. With them surfacing, you can fix your program. You can fix this program with yours. With those surfaces, you can fix your dog to where it doesn't have those problems. But you just gotta be responsible and you gotta be as harsh and decisive as Mother Nature. Well, let me get out here. Therapy, Emotional Support Dog. I gotta see what's going on. Well, I got time. I'm walking out there. But therapy, most I'm still finna get ready. I gotta see what's going on. The dog's barking. Let's see what's going on. It ain't nothing going on. There ain't nothing going on but a pile of neck bones. Like I said, yeah, I gotta get them out the way. Therapy, Emotional Support Dog. Oh, you back. Moo Moo. What you do now? Moo Moo Cow, you gonna make me stay on here a couple more minutes. You gotta check it out. I had a little interesting little rant going on. But it would only be proper of me to get off of here and get more done. So, Momo, I gotta make sure you hit me up, come back on it, drop a comment. I'll track you down. I had a couple people ask about these puppies. Bro, drop a comment. I'll track you down. Like, I'm gonna get a good dog to a good home. One thing we gonna do is find the best home for these dogs, cause guess what? At this price, anybody can get one. But guess what? Everybody can't get one. Therapy, Emotional Support Dog. I'm out.